I would make a motion to reconsider the prior question of appointing and hiring Kathy Nickolaus to the clerk treasurer position.
I'll second it.
Your motion is what again, Joe, please?
To reconsider the prior vote.
There's a motion to reconsider on the floor, been seconded. I don't know if there's any discussion. If none,
What was your, do you want to read what your communication from?
sure, she, well, for the record, because we were off the record, we took a short recess for me to contact the candidate. I explained to her the situation, the vote, and she wanted some time to think about it. She just texted back, how about I not clerk and just a consultant to the clerk? Will that give us the 5-0? And I believe she may have also texted Supervisor Zabanski, and that's, so I'll defer to him if he has any further information from her.
I have, other than the discussion, she would prefer not to be her statement. How about if I come in as a consultant to Aaron, will that get a 5-0 vote? I would rather be a consultant than the deputy clerk, no title at all, because she's intimidated by the political banter. I mean, we have a decision to make. Do we think if we're gonna trust her with our election, if we're gonna trust her with our, the operation of our office, if she's going to be a resource for Aaron, where Aaron is going to turn to and ask questions and get advice and execute the job of clerk treasurer based on the advice that she's getting from Kathy Nickolaus, whether you call her a clerk, a deputy clerk, a consultant, call her the sun, call her a chair. We're bickering over a title.
Well, there's a motion to reconsider. I can check my parliamentary procedure guide if we need any further discussion or whether we're gonna reconsider.
Call a question.
Your motion is just to reconsider your exact same motion before? You're
You
asking
have
for the
to
same,
vote on the motion to reconsider, and then we
fair enough.
have that other vote to reconsider. Is that correct?
Yeah, it just brings it back to the floor.
Sure. I'll call the roll. Supervisor Bansky?
Yes.
Supervisor Wolf?
Yes.
Supervisor Laska?
Yes.
Supervisor Fisher?
Yes.
And Chairman Merrick is a yes.
So the motion's back on the floor. I believe the discussion is whether or not we're gonna get to the 5-0. Is that correct, Supervisor Bansky? And if not, maybe we'll rescind that motion and then bring a different motion. Is that your thinking?
It would be my thought. We have a solution that's there for us for the taking, and call it posturing or a gesture of your show of support. But she's asking that you show the support for her by casting your vote in favor of her as a unanimous piece.
Well, hang on a minute, I don't quite understand, I just don't quite understand what you are asking. I don't understand.
It's simple. Kathy Nickolaus will only come here and help Aaron run the town of Waukesha treasurer's office and the election if she receives a 5-0 majority vote from this body to endorse her coming here. Call her queen, call her consultant, call her clerk treasurer. The question is, do I, Larry, Mike, John, do we feel that Kathy Nickolaus is able to assist Aaron, to direct Aaron, guide Aaron in the execution of the duties that the town clerk treasurer's office needs to do, from an election standpoint, from a budget standpoint, from a paying of the bills standpoint, from putting out agendas, the day-to-day operation of the office. Do you feel individually that she's capable of giving that direction and effectively giving Aaron guidance and support in doing that? And if the answer to that is yes, the title is of no concern, or should be of no concern, because effectively, she ain't gonna be an Indian, she's gonna be the chief, because Aaron doesn't have the knowledge to direct her how to do the work. She's gonna be the one calling the shots. So if you wanna call her queen, call her queen. She's not interested in a title, she's interested in a unanimous vote, because the woman doesn't wanna be all over the paper, having her name smeared over the town of Waukesha stuff. She's willing to help, but it isn't worth it to her.
This, I want to get some clarity, it's a bit complicated for me. Are you going back to supporting appointing Aaron Baudo to be the clerk treasurer? Are we back to that?
I don't see why we would. Is Aaron effectively gonna be the clerk treasurer? Does she have the knowledge base to direct a subordinate in what to do or how to do it? The answer is no. She doesn't have the physical capability to do that job. Does she have the physical capability to be the treasurer? No. She lacks the knowledge. She doesn't know how to do it. How could you possibly vote when you know two facts? She doesn't have the knowledge to be the clerk. She doesn't have the knowledge to be the treasurer. She is a wonderful person, busts her rear end in there, and is willing to try to be the thumb in the hole of the boat to stop the water from coming on board. But she lacks the ability, the knowledge to do it. Not the will, the knowledge. And now we're talking about bringing somebody in that has the knowledge, has a desire to step up and help Aaron and help the town of Waukesha with that knowledge. And we're bantering about whether or not we should call her clerk, whether we should call her consultant, whether we should call her deputy clerk. The practicality is she's gonna be calling the shots, because Aaron doesn't know what shots to call. It's like saying to the quarterback, we're not gonna call you quarterback, we're gonna call you defensive end, just because we don't wanna call you quarterback.
Nobody's arguing the point of whether or not Aaron is or is not qualified. That wasn't the point of this. The point of this was getting somebody in the office deputized so that we could accept ballots. Plain and simple, that's all it was, Joe. We're not saying that Aaron is qualified, wasn't qualified, is going to be a clerk treasurer on a permanent basis. This was purely a stopgap in order to be able to accept ballots so that we were legal. Regarding help for her, I take no exception to her operating as a consultant, and said that from the get-go.
And I hear, so if I go into the hospital and I have a heart attack and I have a stubbed toe, do you just treat the stubbed toe and send it away? We have the ability to put in a real stopgap on all the areas of the clerk's office that need stopgap. Support for her, information and knowledge and guidance to allow Aaron to properly learn the role of clerk treasurer, which may result in the retention of her as an employee of the town. This thing has but one downside, and the downside is a political edge or a political point of view. That is all this is. This woman is well qualified, and she will be a tremendous asset to Aaron Baudo and Betty Paget and anybody else that's giving their time and effort to the clerk's office through this trouble. I mean, I can't, for the life of me, if you're saying, John, that you would support her coming in and doing the job, what's the hangup with the title that she gets? Why not give her your unconditional support if she's capable of doing the work, which you've said you have no problem with her coming in and consulting Aaron and coaching Aaron, and you didn't say coaching, but consulting Aaron, then that sounds like you, at some level, agree that she is capable of doing the job. Where does the hangup lie with just giving her your unconditional support to say, yeah, come in, we understand that you're gonna be the one teaching Aaron and helping her navigate through things she has never done? What's the hangup with saying, yeah, we're gonna make her clerk treasurer and move forward? It's
Very
posture,
simple,
it's
Joe, for
posture.
starters. No, it's not. You, Larry, Mike, me, Brian, you're appointing somebody to probably the most important position in this town, and you've never interviewed her. You've surreptitiously snuck around,
I didn't.
negotiated with her, and decided that you're gonna basically hire her. Don't tell me that you're
I
going
take
to.
offense
don't
to
give
your
me-
slants and
don't-
your innuendos
so-
and your
no.
cheap-ass shots, John
It's
Merrick.
not-
Knock it off.
It's not an innuendo, and it's not a slant. You surreptitiously
I
wandered
didn't
around.
surreptitiously or
Sure
anything
you did.
else. I
Sure you
called
did.
her because our
Sure
clerk
you did.
quit, John. I
Sure
went
you
to
did.
solve another problem created by you.
Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
no,
Yeah.
Mr. Bansky.
Let's have
This
some
is
order.
your issue and Ms. Van Stock's issue, harassing the clerks continuously with your nonstop
We
open
read-
records
We
requests.
read your crap on the internet. I have not supplied any open records requests.
Mr. Chairman, may I have the floor, please?
Yes.
I guess a question to Mr.
Yeah.
Bansky or Supervisor Bansky that I guess I didn't quite understand when you were asking, made the motion to reconsider. I mean, typically, that's done by somebody in the majority who indeed wants to reconsider that vote. Do I understand that correctly? All you want to do is re-vote again on the motion that in fact passed? Is that what you're asking?
You're a smart guy. You know the meaning of the word reconsider, Brian.
No, Joe, I'm asking a fair question.
No, you're not. You're playing political bullshit games, and I'm not doing it anymore.
Please. All right, where, then I guess tell me where you want to go next. That's real simple. Is there anything that offends you about that? Where are you going? That's a real simple question. No political edge, no profanity, nothing. Real simple. Show us where you're going.
Why do you oppose, Brian, hiring her and giving her the title of clerk treasurer? What basis, in fact, do you object to that position?
Wait,
I've asked him a direct question. I would like to.
And I have explained my reasons already, so let's move on.
So
I've
where we're
explained
at,
mine too.
okay, where we're at, as I understand it, is we've had a vote to reconsider, the matter's back on the floor. There's been discussion as to, and Supervisor Bansky's asked whether or not it looks like we're gonna get a 5-0 vote. It appears we are not going to get a 5-0 vote for her to be the clerk treasurer. And so, the matter's reconsidered. Do we have to take up a new motion, I guess? What is the pleasure of the body?
Mr. Fisher, could you support bringing Kathy Nickolaus in order to put this matter behind us as a consultant or an assistant if we were to appoint Aaron Baudo on a temporary basis to that position?
I would have no objection to that, and I would fully support that.
And I make a motion that we go right back to where we started from, which is to appoint Aaron Baudo to a temporary position of clerk treasurer, and that she is able to appoint, as she chooses, her assistants, which I would support, that being Kathy Nickolaus.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Wait, I gotta make sure this motion, first, I think we have to have a motion to rescind the prior motion. We reconsidered it, but we have to rescind it now. You didn't rescind the prior motion. There's a motion on the floor. But there's a motion, and you reconsidered it, but, so it's back in discussion, but I think you have to rescind it. You haven't rescinded the prior motion
Which is the,
to appoint Kathy Nichols.
okay.
So the first motion, it seems to me, is to rescind the prior motion.
Also move.
Who, is that something that Joe needs to rescind, or do any of us able to rescind that prior motion?
Well, we did them, the way we've done it is to reconsider it, it's back on the, back on the floor. I guess if someone says that it's a wrong for Supervisor Fisher to make the motion, then they would have to object and say one of themselves has to make that motion.
Does anybody object?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, would you care to rescind the motion?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Let's vote on the motion.
There's no motion.
Wasn't Joe's original motion to appoint Kathy Nickolaus?
To my knowledge,
Clerk
there's
treasurer?
only one motion on the floor, and that was the motion to reconsider the vote. That motion was called and passed.
Yes.
There's been no motion brought forward on any other topic at this point.
Mr. Macy, do you agree?
I agree with that, I just, I'd either have to go get my parliamentary procedure, I mean, we need, if we adjourned at the moment, we still have the motion, all we did was bring it back, you used a technique, and I'm not saying this in any negative way, you used a technique to get the matter back before the body for discussion purposes, because once the vote is taken, it's actually a resolved matter, and you have to get it reconsidered to bring it back for discussion. So that's what you did, you brought it back for discussion, now you have to decide whether you're gonna take any further action on it. We've gotta get a clerk treasurer here, gentlemen, and she's willing to come as the consultant, she texted me again, and she's just said, maybe she also texted, I'm not looking for anything permanent, just wanna help them out, being a consultant with no title may work the best.
Sounds like a solution to me. So am I able to make a motion to move forward and appoint Aaron or not? Is that not an option at this moment?
Well, we have a motion that passed that appoints Kathy Nickolaus, so unless that
No,
motion
didn't
is
pass.
modified. No, the
Oh, it did
motion-
pass, you're correct, okay. I understand now. So we need to undo that motion. We need to rescind that motion. Is there an,
My motion would be to appoint Kathy Nickolaus as the clerk treasurer for the town of Waukesha at a rate of 32.308 per hour, effective through May 1st.
so you haven't changed? We've already been there, Joe.
Great, we're there again. It's my motion.
We're not gonna vote twice on the same thing.
If he makes the motion, we have to see if it gets seconded.
Is there a second? All right. Roll call vote. Do you want me to call the roll? Supervisor Bansky,
Yes.
Supervisor Wolf,
Yes.
Supervisor Laska,
Yes.
Supervisor Fisher,
No.
and Chairman Merrick is a no.
I'd make a motion to reconsider the appointment of Aaron Baudo as clerk treasurer. I was in the majority during that vote.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Okay. So your motion, I'm sorry, we need to vote on the reconsideration.
Just for
Supervisor-
point of clarification, we get up to speed. That was the very first motion that we considered,
Yes.
and you're saying you were in the majority because you voted no.
Correct.
Okay, I understand.
Supervisor Vansky,
Yes.
Supervisor Wolf,
Yes.
Supervisor Laska,
Yes.
Supervisor Fisher,
Yes.
and Chairman Merrick is a yes. I will make a motion that we
Wait,
appoint.
I got it, okay, where are we going with this? You can't appoint two clerks. I'm not going to let you legally appoint two clerks. You currently have a clerk appointed. So anybody, before you make a motion, make sure you think through what you're gonna do. You either have to the point has been made and voted on twice, that 3-2, you were wanting Kathy Nickolaus. That's the clerk at the moment. The law will say that's your clerk. Don't appoint another clerk or you're gonna cause me all kinds of legal problems. So I don't know where you wanna go with this, and that's totally up to you. I don't set policy. I just can't let you appoint two clerks.
Do we have to formally recognize in some capacity that Kathy Nickolaus is refusing to accept the position unless we have a 5-0 majority vote? That we in fact appointed her, but given her refusal to accept unless there was a unanimous vote? obligation to do that with regard to rescinding the offer made to her?
My answer would be yes.
Then I would,
And so, I mean, we either have to get it in writing from her that she's not gonna take it, she's not, you know, I suppose you could make a motion to, if the first choice refuses to take the position, to appoint Aaron, you could do it that way. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but it seems to me that you could make a motion regardless that upon Kathy Nickolaus's refusal to take the position is offered to Aaron, or, you know, until May 1st, and then you have to set the rate. So you could handle it that way in a motion. That's why I wanted the discussion before you made the motion. I don't have a problem with that. But then we go to Kathy Nickolaus and say, you're willing to take it at 3-2. If she says no, then you go to Aaron Bordeaux and say, would you be willing to take the position? Fair enough? Does that make sense?
Now, if I'm not mistaken, then whoever is clerk and they appoint deputies, the board has to approve that?
They have to,
They have to approve paying them.
yes. Well, with the exception that if it were Aaron was appointed to deputy, it's a change of title, and she's willing to do the job at the same rate,
Right.
you know.
so at this point, can we make a motion to appoint Kathy and allocate funds to pay her?
Unfortunately not, it's not on the agenda. The only thing on the agenda is the position of clerk treasurer.
Isn't that what you're referring to though, Joe?
No, he's hiring her as a consultant. He wishes to hire her as a consultant.
Well, I misunderstood, you said appoint.
We lack the ability to engage her, is what I just heard, in any other position other than clerk treasurer and approve her wage, which presents a challenge should Erin Baudo be successful in becoming appointed clerk treasurer. Should she decide to deputize or hire as consultant Kathy Nickolaus, she would have to come back before this board to get a wage approval, and I lack the confidence that there'll be wage approval for her.
Why do you lack that confidence? Would you support it?
Oh, I would support that wage, yeah.
I don't think you have.
Who do you think wouldn't support that?
My personal feeling says I lack confidence that this board will take the appropriate action, because the appropriate action should have been taken already today.
Well, let's pick a date for, Kathy Nickolaus can't start until, she told me, until Friday. She could work this afternoon, and then is she gone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or, she told me the dates, I can't remember if she's back
She's
Thursday.
gone Wednesday and Thursday, she's back in town on Friday. She's in Minnesota the next 2 days.
I mean, you can, in terms of votes, you have no reason or basis on which to speculate. And the fact of the matter is, if Erin Baudo is appointed Town of Waukesha clerk treasurer, and she elects to deputize Kathy Nickolaus for whatever purpose, and that needs to come to this board for approval of her pay, I quite believe that takes but a 3-2 vote. Am I wrong, Attorney Macy?
That's correct.
Thank you.
But we don't know whether or not Kathy Nickolaus would prefer to be a deputy. It sounded like she'd prefer to just be a consultant. So, we don't have a motion, we do not have a motion, is that correct? We're just considering the potentiality of a motion that if Kathy Nickolaus refuses to take the position of Town of Waukesha clerk treasurer, Erin Bordeaux be appointed to the position, and be hired to that position until May 1st, and you gotta tell me the salary. You know, if there's a motion that's made. The next item that could be brought up for discussion, or it could be brought up now, is the call of a special meeting at blank time, be it whatever, tomorrow or Friday morning or any time between now, for the purposes of hiring Kathy Nickolaus at the salary that she's requesting for the purposes of either consultant or deputy clerk, whichever she prefers. We could put that in the record now and get a consensus that all five are willing to have that special meeting and consider that agenda item. We can't vote on it, but we can get as close as we can get, you know, subject to the discussion that would occur. I don't know whether that would be acceptable I don't know if that's helpful to the discussion, let me put it that way. I guess Supervisor Bansky, to put it as succinctly as I can, if we went around the table and asked people whether, based on what they know, they're willing to hold the special meeting and willing to support her as the consultant and/or deputy treasurer, depending on whatever works out, what's ever best for the town and best for her, at a special meeting to be called at, I don't care, you know, tomorrow, or it can be any time before Friday, you know. It has to be 24 hours from today.
I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna participate in a charade to appoint Erin Bobo clerk treasurer. She lacks the qualifications. I'm just not gonna participate in a charade. You all can stand on, on your principle of not appointing a qualified candidate to that position, and I'm gonna stand on mine. I'm just not gonna vote in the affirmative to put a person in a position that lacks, lacks the knowledge and the ability to do that job. She has the will, she's willing to throw herself on the grenade. Yeah, I'm just not gonna do it. So,
In
you can do
answer,
whatever you want.
answer to the question that Attorney Macy posed, my answer is yes.
Well, I guess the best we can do is see if we have three votes that are willing to, see if someone's willing to make a motion that if Kathy Nickolaus refuses to take the position of Town of Waukesha clerk treasurer, to appoint, to appoint Erin Bordeaux to the position of Town of Waukesha clerk treasurer and hire her at the rate of, somebody's gotta give me a rate,
$30 per hour would be my motion.
until May 1st.
I'll so move.
Second.
Can you read that back, please? Sorry.
Yeah, the motion that is that if Kathy Nickolaus refuses to take the position of Town of Waukesha clerk treasurer, Erin Bordeaux is appointed to the position of Town of Waukesha clerk treasurer, and she is to be hired at the rate of $30 an hour until May 1st. We need to see if we can
So we're
get,
gonna pay Erin $30 an hour? Is that what the question before the board is for this position?
For that 30-day period.
that's the motion, I mean, let's ask the maker of the motion if that's the intent.
That's my motion.
In hopes to move this along, we just wanna see if we can get three votes. Erin doesn't need 5 votes, she needs 3 votes. We respect Supervisor Bansky that you have your feelings, but we have to see if Supervisor Wolf or Supervisor Alaska are willing to, in order to move this along, support the motion.
This would be so easy if everybody, it's for a month's time to get our election done. I don't see the objection to having somebody qualified like Kathy coming in our town, helping our town out to get a 5-0 vote, to get our town through this election to next month. I don't see the problem.
I understand, but that's, and it's passed. And it's only Kathy Nickolaus who won't do it. We can't force her to do it.
But if we get a 5-0 vote, she'll do it.
I can't force anybody to vote any way they
No,
want.
I know
All I
you
can
can't.
do is try to solve the problem. We've got to get a clerk treasurer appointed. And if we don't have 3 votes on this motion, I guess we're gonna stay here until we get somebody else.
Call the question.
Question? Question?
Yes.
Do I have the floor?
Yes.
Attorney Nickolaus had made her statement. She will not come aboard unless there's a 5-0 vote in her favor. Why is she even part of this motion that's on the floor now?
Because you repassed the motion 3-2, appointing her the clerk treasurer. I have to either rescind that motion or put that qualification on this motion, or you'll have two clerk treasurers, which I can't allow under the law. You reconsidered and then repassed the motion. The current position is Kathy Nickolaus's. She, as a courtesy, has to be told that that's her position at a 3-2 vote. If she refuses, we have to have a fallback position, and this motion is the fallback position. As I understand the motion, the maker and the second have to acknowledge it. If Kathy Nickolaus is willing to do it at a 3-2 vote, she has the job.
That's for sure, there's no question about that. That's what's been approved by this board.
And we would ask her again to please take the job at a 3-2 vote. If she says no, this is just the fallback position. We understand everybody's position. Supervisor Wolf, I think everybody's articulated it and you've reiterated it, and we respect that there's just a difference of opinion as to, you know, on the situation, but we need a solution.
Call the question.
Supervisor Bansky,
No.
Supervisor Wolf,
No.
Supervisor Laska,
No,
Supervisor Fisher,
Yes.
and Chairman Merrick is a yes.
Well, gentlemen, I'm suggesting you not go home until you find a solution. We have to have a clerk treasurer. So you can continue to sit here and not have a solution, which is fine, but that's not in the best interest of the town. I guess to take another recess, I'll call Kathy Nickolaus back and tell her what's happening.
One thing I don't understand, before you do that, is there's two board members that will not change their mind, but the three of us are supposed to. Now, why can't the minority change their mind, get us through this month, and be done with it?
I'm just curious, why doesn't you change your mind then and get us through this month? Same question there.
Okay.
We're in recess. If you want to make a call, Mr. Mason.
It's just, I hope you write what you see.
Me too.
Fortunately, it's
Don't
too
be gone too long.
don't have a lot of space, and they do like a bigger version.
Bump somebody,
What's that?
bump somebody, shrink them down. You need room.
Yeah, that's right. I need room for a lot of stuff.
And we are reconvening at 12:49.
I'm happy to report that Kathy Nickolaus indicated that she would start immediately.
Based on
The
the
motion that's been
3-2
passed.
motion.
Yep, and the salary range and the May 1st, all of what I explained to her, so she's on her way in.
Do we need to reconvene a special meeting to approve this salary, or is that was part of the motion? Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.